Hello, I'm Michael Swaim, and welcome back to Tales from the Pit. This is your content warning. This episode, I'll be speaking with Biba Pickles about her experiences with anxiety, panic, bipolar disorder, alcoholism, addiction, and, most terrifying of all, trying to find the right mood medication for her. If you can believe it, we even find some time to discuss how all of these issues both hinder and enrich her art. I hope you enjoy the conversation. In July 1963, the Cleveland, Ohio paper The Plain Dealer published a short article with several jokes about elephants because the news cycle was simpler then. Probably the most famous joke from that article is the following, which I will gussy up by reading as a Brooklyn meathead and Dracula.
Blue, how do you make a statue of an elephant?
I don't know, Dracula. How about you get the biggest granite block you can find and then chip away all the parts what doesn't look like an elephant? Tragically, this joke represented the funniest humor available at the time. This was, of course, long before America began exploiting Canada's vast underground humor reserves. Case in point, before that joke, the previous funniest thing related to elephants was an old newsreel of Thomas Edison electrocuting one to death. But this joke, if it can be called a joke, has stood the test of time, and I imagine it's for the same reasons that granite does, and elephants do. Elephant do. By meaning something to human beings. Statues are erected, cherished, or demolished as an expression of our collective will. Elephants will continue to exist or not, largely depending on choices we make about their value. Granite is hard. My understanding is that it's some kind of rock. So it literally just stands the test of time. But it's a special rock, because a statue is a rock that's been shaped by a human consciousness. A sculptor gave this particular hunk of matter special meaning by investing time and effort and thought into it. And as a wise popsicle stick once said, chipping away everything that doesn't look like an elephant. So go ahead, sculpt an elephant. I'll wait. No, I won't, because you've already failed. I bet you didn't even provide a receipt voucher to the quarry foreman for the block of granite, you dope. Because guess what? Chipping a rock into a shape is actually super fucking hard, as the greatest elephant joke ever told so wryly highlights. So now, imagine that what's trapped in the rock, like so much Solo, isn't an elephant, it's you. The you you've always wanted to be. The you are when you feel most like yourself. The you know you could be more of the time with a little practice. All you have to do is chisel all the bad bits away and let them go. Simple, right? But then your chisel slips and granite splinters fly into your eyes. That's the brain shocks from the Cymbalta. So you switch up your technique. You meditate at the rock for a while, trying to get the eyes just right, but the level of patience required for telekinetic carvery makes your brain speed up so much you think you might be the least zen person ever to buy yoga pants and then use them primarily for non-yoga purposes. So, you try again. Maybe the chisel was too direct. Perhaps something firmer than a brainwave, but more yielding than a chisel is called for. But then, you sand overzealously one day and get bronchitis from inhaling too much granite dust. That's a manic episode, cranking things up to 11. When the slab falls off its base and breaks 3 of your toes, metaphorically speaking, that's because they switched you from the Cymbalta to Wellbutrin, and now you can't sleep and sweat excessively from your nostrils. Then, a hairline crack forms right where you thought the arm was going to be. So instead of a bold akimbo stance, as you so long planned, your you sculpture is going to have their hands in their pockets. which is kind of good because hands are hard to sculpt anyway. That's the scooped out nothing feeling of antipsychotics making you lose faith in this whole stupid project. Sculpting a functional self? Impossible. Certainly impossible if you give up. Anyway, and even if you do manage the impossible, a U sculpture tends to be a little squishier than its granite counterpart. There will be maintenance required, and whatever weird, beautiful, perfect, transient shape your rock self takes on, there will be art critics, and there is no right answer. There's just you and the rock and the hard place and what you make of it. So make it art. Make it mean something to you. And keep envisioning the statue in the stone, because even though mental health is a long, arduous journey, at the end you get a free elephant. And that is a Tales from the Pit promise. Here to discuss the nature of mental illness as it relates to art and performance, being bipolar, chugging Four Locos, not giving up on a better mental space despite setbacks, and the one time she shoved her hand into a wasp's nest to prove that she's having more fun than you, is musician, artist, and DJ Biba Pickles. But you can just call her Pickles.
I'm used to this. The radio,
you know my
the
technique.
radio
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure. You might not have known that I already started recording, but
It's fine. I'm not saying anything incriminating. It's not like I'm talking about that hobo I hit back in '94.
it's not like that. I'll bleep that. Weirdly, it just came out this morning that one of my coworkers for like 10 years is apparently a sex predator.
What? Really?
So it's all the Twitter fallout's happening this morning.
Like,
I'm making decisions like, oh, do we scrub his byline from our, involvements with him? Stuff like that. Well, welcome to Tales from the Pit. I'm here with Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber, the famous Broadway director.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
No, this voice you're hearing is Biba Pickles. Hi, Biba. Thank you so much for being here.
It's Biba Pickles. But everybody
guessed rather than asking to avoid confrontation, and I failed.
I think that's a common thing.
Yeah,
and
sorry
it's
about
okay.
that.
That's totally okay. Confrontation's
I
a scary
could have gone
thing.
with Biba.
Bible
Ping
pong.
Have you heard Bible ping pong before?
I've heard it all.
I'm sure you've heard from like a Starbucks brief. Like, what do they put
No,
on the
from
cup?
like people saying like, oh, and our next comedian on stage is, or
Bible
oh,
ping pong is not a bad name for a stand-up comedian.
I think it sounds good. I just need the consistency so people can like match a face to a name.
Yeah. That's why I always thought Hannibal Buress, one of his first albums, has the perfect title, Animal Furnace. It teaches you how to say his name. It's great.
It's so fun. I love him.
I'm here with Biba. I apologize,
It's
Biba,
okay.
but thanks for dropping by. I've only read it. We emailed
It's okay.
a bunch.
Everybody calls me Pickles. It's easier just to say Pickles.
Everyone calls me Swaim, so I get that.
Swaggy Swaim.
Swaim. Just Swaim. Swaggy?
Swaggy.
I don't know where you pulled
Swag.
that from. Swaggy. Gotcha.
Like, oh yeah, I'm swag.
No, most people don't see me and scan swag, but
Really, I think your shirt is pretty swag. It's like if you wanted a tablecloth for a child in 1976.
That's not a compliment.
No,
it is. This is my zebra stripe gum shirt that I wear when I want to be reminded of zebra stripe gum.
Do you lick it and try to tattoo yourself with your shirt?
I wear it many days in a row and see if it rubs off. Sure, you could call that a tattoo.
All right. Well, I haven't washed this dress since December, so I'm on the same page with you.
I'm more down with your pen that says I want to believe.
Oh, thanks. I got it at a
and the is that the UFO as well?
A UFO
Nice.
over a pyramid. I got it at my friend's UFO themed birthday party recently.
Wonderful. But this show is not about whatever we were talking about.
It's about drinking some delicious ginger ale.
Yeah, you can do that. Pickles is drinking ginger ale, and while she does that, I'm going to explain that the topic of the show is, as regular listeners will know, addiction, depression, mental illness, grief, and trauma, and processing and coping with same. And the nominal topic of this episode, but it tends to meander because it's just a friendly conversation, is its relationship to art. So I'd love if you could sort of recap for the audience your art journey, certainly as a musician, but like I'm sure there's other creative endeavors you've embarked
There's
upon.
like so many things. I feel like
What's art to you in your life?
I feel like my whole life. I don't want to sound like
I am art.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like that. But I feel like everything that I do, it just dwindles down. Like, oh, I'm performing now, or I just feel like I'm always performing, but not even performing. I like what Morrissey said. He said only seals perform, and it's like whatever. But I mean, there's a
Seal, and he had that big beef after that about that. I think
it's like,
right?
hey,
that was
Seal,
a misunderstanding,
like,
but yeah,
I'm really mad at you because I don't even know what you could be mad at Seal for.
Did you hear he had a Me Too outing?
No, I
Yeah.
haven't been on the internet for like the whole
He tried
weekend.
to talk his way into sex with his married neighbor lady by like borrowing a salad spinner and then pushing his way into the
What?
home and, you know, trying to get sex out of her. And she went public with it. The salad spinner
I feel like
is
that's
what my mind latches
I feel
onto.
like that's the worst story I've ever heard because of how like stupid he is. Like,
Yeah.
fuck you. No, that just see. I feel really upset with the world. I think this is why my life has become art, is because I feel that if I didn't constantly have something going for me, and I guess like that's what I mean by constantly performing, I'm like creating this fantasy world, which is easy because I'm mentally ill. And if I didn't do that, I would look at this world and it's like you can't trust anybody. Everybody like seems terrible. Like everybody that's being outed, it's like, you're all horrible. Like, how could you do that? Like, what's wrong with anybody? Isn't there anybody that wants to genuinely create and like connect and love a person and like a really empowering way? Like, hey, you know, I'm there for you.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to not feel bad about yourself. Let's not like traumatize people. Like, I just feel totally disgusted every day by people. I feel sad about it.
And
So
yet
I
if that
have
was
to.
always happening, isn't this the good thing? Like, this has to happen, right? This is
No,
part
this
of
has to happen.
Yeah, I'd rather know than like, because the alternative was, 5 years ago, all the shit was the same, and they successfully squashed it.
Yeah.
That's way worse.
Well, I've had a huge amount of encounters just being like a public figure in my small town.
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, did you know that guy is a bad guy? And they're like, yeah, but you know, he's just so bad guy-y. That's his thing. And it's like, you're fucking bullshit. Like, you're just gaslighting my experience. So I want it to come out, but at the same time, I just feel like a hopelessness. Like, how can I like trust or help someone and like feel confident in it when I feel like everybody might be bad? Like, I feel really sad. Like, if something bad happened to me, how do I even call for help? I don't even know. I feel like I'm in a darkness.
I see where that feeling comes from, and I'm in a place of privilege as a man, so it's harder. I'm not going to question you, but I feel like there's good people out there who would support you in a time of trouble. I'd like to hope. You could call us.
I want to believe that, and I think for me,
oh no, and you'd get death threats from creeps also, but
all the time.
Both would
I
happen.
get all kinds of scary ass fan shit.
Oh sure, so do I, and I'm like a 6'3" dude, so I'm sure you get way more.
I'm 4'11". I'm terrified.
Yeah, but I got to back up, and for the sake of audience
talk about
advocacy,
art.
asks. Well, that's true, because I have a whole episode planned about the nature of the world being shitty, leading to depression, and this is not that.
This is just a bumper for that show.
That's true. But you said you're mentally ill. Was that used in euphemism?
No, I'm actually mentally ill.
Right, okay. So what forms of mental illness do you struggle with?
Okay, let's start from the bottom up. Okay, I
whatever that means to you.
In order of, oh, it's okay, you only have generalized anxiety disorder. You're going to feel kind of uneasy, and here's your propranolol, and no, you're going to be fine too.
Yeah.
Oh, you have obsessive compulsive disorder, and like your fingers are bleeding because you are just scrubbing everything way too hard, and
You're an overcleaner.
Massive, but it's a really strange thing. It's like I'll clean my whole house like a lot, but it looks junky because I'm like, no, this is the pile of stuff that I'm refurbishing.
But there's a spot that has to be cleaned 1,000,000 times or whatever.
Everywhere has to be like clean, like of like dirt, like actual dirty grossness.
Yeah.
But there's clutter everywhere because I'm constantly working on projects. But it's not, in my opinion, it's not like hoarding because I'm not holding on to them. It's like, okay, these are uses. I'm going to do this, and then that's going to go into a piece of art that I'm going to sell, or this is going to be a present for somebody. And so it's like a factory line.
Yeah.
I feel like
you brought me a homemade jester cap. I think the audience should know. And some buttons.
I just go.
So you're crafty as fuck.
I'm like I'm like MacGyver. Martha Stewart, if you accidentally like drugged her with like ayahuasca, and then like if Tim Allen were not like a piece of shit and like still the lovable 90s guy, and a little bit of Wilson, because I have to say that he was my favorite part of that show.
Okay.
I can be like,
we're far afield now again.
I'm just saying,
I'm
just telling you that's a part of my art is like, if you broke that cup, I would say, I'm going to take those pieces home and make a mosaic of it and sell it online.
But did it trigger you for me to do a joke about my shirt, wearing my shirt for 5 days? Does the thought of that lack of hygiene?
No.
Okay. So it's within your own space that you control. Is that when you mostly have issues like that?
Yes.
Like, I should be able to keep this organized because it's my
I don't
area.
go organize other people's houses unless they let me get too comfortable there.
Because that's what I meant is like, we have cat hairballs everywhere. Does that trigger? Does it bother your OCD?
No, because this isn't my environment.
I see.
I
You're
don't
not
live
responsible
here.
for it. Okay.
But if you were like, oh, I'm like, I have a sublet, and you're gonna like have a place,
it's gonna be fucking spotless.
then I'm gonna go for it. So
do you
I have those two, and I have panic disorder, and they were like, okay, you're freaking out a lot, and so we're gonna like give you more medication. And then I also had like a really extreme phobia of sharks, and I had to go to cognitive behavioral therapy for a long time.
You and the president, he's fascinated by sharks. I saw your disgust look. You guys have a lot more in common than you think.
No,
you're like, no, shut that down.
Nope. Now I like feel like I have to go away from the mic because my mic is orange.
That's true.
I feel trapped.
Biba's mic is presidential orange, they call that color.
My God, no. So the fear of shark was like, I could not look at pictures of like a stereotypical shark, like big, like not a hammerhead, like it had to be like a great white bull shark, mako shark, tiger shark.
But a hammerhead didn't give you the phobia?
No, because hammerheads don't fit that stereotype of a shark. It was only
just like a hole full of teeth.
Jaws like, the teeth stuff. No.
What about nurse shark? I just swam with nurse sharks.
No, they're
too small to really cause.
And also they can stop swimming without dying and just chill and lay down, and their teeth are kind of square like. They don't fit.
Yeah, we snorkeled and we just saw them like chilling at the bottom of the ocean. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm cool with them. It's only like Jaws like sharks, and I couldn't have my feet on the ground. I ran out of amoeba on Sunset screaming, and people thought like I was being attacked by bees or something. Like I have made.
And you're like, no, it's a mind shark. Did you see a photo, like an album cover with a shark?
There was a giant poster of Jaws. I think it's still there in amoeba, and I couldn't handle it. I've made a spectacle of myself. I've embarrassed myself, and it was crappy because it's like, oh, it's really funny, but I can't control it.
And did those moments feel embarrassing for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't want to do that. I don't want this.
Because you're not in control. But I want to, I assumed they did, but I want that on the record because I think it's so interesting to reconcile with the fact that you also said you're always on. obviously performance is a big part of like your calling in life. Can you speak to, so like how this is interrelated to your art? Do you think you would have made more better art if you had no like struggles with your mental space? Or do you think that it's helped your art, or is it neutral and it just shapes your art, but it doesn't help or hurt?
I feel like
how's that work?
I just feel like I only know how to be myself in this position. And a lot of my art is like a comment or an expression to like my, like, what's going on in my head right now. I need to like get it out and put it on something, no matter what I describe myself as like a multimedia artist because it's like I've done improv, stand-up comedy. I've had a successful radio show. I've like done several different things in all areas of music. And it's always like, you know, what I'm feeling is what's going into that. So I feel like no matter where I would have gone or who I would have been, it just would have been myself pouring out into something. But I think that like being mentally ill for me has been a very huge emotional struggle, and the emotions just pour out of me in whatever I'm doing. And I want to say that the most difficult mental illness that I feel like I have, that it's just been really hard for me personally to deal with this one, is I'm bipolar type 1, which is it means that I go into full-blown mania and I can go into psychosis, and I have. And just
how's psychosis experience for you?
It's like an unwanted acid trip because you're
including
just,
visual hallucinations and things. Okay, I
see things and I hear things, and like one that like came up a lot was me feeling like I could control the weather. Like I kept saying like, no, watch. And I would like put my hands out and then like the wind would blow a tree. And I'm like, I did that. Yeah. And I really, really believe that. I believe like I was like Matilda. And
wouldn't we all love to be like Matilda?
I mean, we would all
so great. Or Mara Wilson for that matter.
And I got compared to her a lot when I was like younger. And I think it just like manifested. Like it got stored in my brain and came out when I was in that state.
I had a brief period where I really believed that it was only my secret and no one believed me, but it was true that I was an android and that like I could turn my robot brain on inside to if I needed extra help on the test or to run super fast or whatever.
I mean, like I feel like, you know, being open about my mental illness, I've heard and connected with so many people, and I've heard so many things, and I've realized like just there's unthinkable amount of like fantasy and imagination and like pretend that can come out when you're not in your right mind. And I know how it manifested with me, and hearing like other people having their own personalized like kind of terrifying experiences or straight up terrifying experiences, it just has made me like feel better. Like, you know what, like it's not just me, and there's like so many different kinds of people out there, and you know, I can find a way. I can like stand on my own 2 feet, and like it's possible because I have influence and support from others. And I think that helps my art too, is that I feel like as my AA group calls it, like vanilla people, like sometimes they don't understand what it means to be wearing those shoes, so
I
to
think
speak.
they're the minority. I think there's a huge number of people who...
I think there's a lot of people that have
because just from doing
experience.
this show, I get overwhelmed every episode with messages from people who say how much it means just to hear someone casually go like, oh yeah, I suffer from panic anxiety disorder. And people are like, oh, me too. I thought we were ashamed to say that.
Oh yeah.
So like the normalization is such a part of it. I think
that's a big part of
if you
it for
include
me.
Addiction at any time to any kind of substance or behavior.
Oh, and I've been there.
There's only like 4% of people who haven't had any kind of psychological like structural malfeasance that they had to address. I only know one in my life, and that's Soren Bowie, who the audience knows well, but you don't, but that's fine. And fuck him, right?
No, okay. You know what's crazy is...
He's still a good writer. That's why fuck him. Didn't even have to do all this bullshit.
The thing that surprises me is like I feel myself, I would describe myself like riddled with problems, that I have like all these like mental things that I have to deal with, and I am an addict and an alcoholic, and I'm clean and sober now, but for many years I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I feel like, oh my God, how did this happen? Because my family, like if you came over and like met my aunt and my grandpa, they're just so normal. They have like my aunt didn't go into a bar until she was 26, and she just never had any. She almost became a nun.
That's not statistically normal, by the way, either of those things.
It's
most Americans are drinking by the time they're 17, 18.
My aunt didn't, and my aunt.
I know, but it's interesting that you think of it as normal and that you're deviated from that. But like, no, it's abnormal that she was going to become a nun and didn't drink until her 20s.
My aunt, I know, is not normal, but she is the Virgin Mary in my eyes. She is absolutely
She's the
pure.
like the good American citizen we all imagine.
She's
right.
like June Cleaver. She is. I've never met anybody in my entire life that was like so trustworthy. She will never lie. She is, and I'm like, dude, how did she raise me? She's like my mom, and she's never been married. She never had a boyfriend, and she only got drunk once in her life, and it scared her, and she never had any kids, and she just like raised me, and she was wholesome, like the most wholesome thing you can think of. That's her. And I am like the epitome of a back alleyway like guy, like, hey kid, do you want to buy a monkey paw? They call it a mojo hand, and you can make wishes on it.
But you immediately mentioned love, and you speak very empathetically, so I think like she probably helped impart that to you, at least.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I feel like
you might want to be an outlaw, but you don't strike me as someone that would like suddenly shiv me or anything. You know what I mean? Or come at me.
No, I feel like I'm more of a like trickster, like a little like imp, like a mischievous little devil.
Sure.
Like I'm gonna pickpocket from this person's pocket and put it in that person's pocket, like that was like that kind of child.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I mean by like
did
being
that feel
like,
performative? Did you feel like you were on, if you can remember, all the way back then?
I feel like I was in my mind. I always felt like I was on like a TV show when I was little. And
it's just so common for performers to say that they're always on, and that's how they cope. Yeah,
and I would like perform in front of a mirror for hours. I would think that every mirror is a camera, and it's like it's showtime.
Oh, that's
and
a good game.
I seriously did that for so long. I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade before I was like, okay, I have to stop it.
Did you straight up whip your hair around, look into the mirror, and say out loud to yourself, "It's showtime"? Ever?
I'm sure that I don't have a memory of that, but I'm sure that I would do something like that.
Camera 3 over here. Yeah.
And my aunt's like, why are you talking to yourself again in your room? And I was like, I'm not talking about I would be like, I'm
prayers. I'm praying.
No, I said I was on the phone all the time. Oh, I was on the phone. And like, she would say, your great grandpa said he heard singing. And I was like, I'm not singing. And in my room, I'm like reenacting like all of Judy Garland's like song and dance moves and shit.
Well, these are very mentally healthy things, I think.
I mean, I know now that
that's all well and good.
That's all called mania, where you stay up for 2 days and don't sleep
and
perform
if you did it
in
for
a
2
mirror.
days, all right, that's different. But I'm saying in and of itself, child adorably performing in their room is normal.
When I grew up, I got a little bit out of hand with not being able to turn off the performance, and then you're like manic.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm going to stay up for 30 hours and I'm going to perfect this Scouse accent, and I'm only going to talk in it for like a week.
Right.
And
your
like
method about your accent.
And it gets like out of hand because people are like, excuse me, like you showed up for jury duty and you scared everybody because you said like you're not a citizen. I'm like, no, that's the character. That's what I was going for at the time. And they're like, no, but you can't like
you have to tell the judge what you think.
You can't force people to populate your personal world.
Play, yeah.
They're not consenting to be a part. And I couldn't understand that when I was manic.
Yes, although art is in a way inviting people into our world, so you haven't completely given up that pursuit.
It's different when you like invite someone
It's with their consent.
Instead of kidnapping, like a van pulls up and you like grab them. You're like, oh my God, what's happening? You're like, you know what? It's time for me to pretend I'm Ed Sullivan. Okay. Like go time. Like, oh no.
You just have to accept it. Yeah.
Like, oh gosh.
But I do think there's a romanticization of, especially, I haven't heard a lot of romanticization of mania, but
really?
Not in songs.
It's like being naturally high. It's the best feeling.
I've heard it from people, but in art, I guess I mean, art seems to focus on this romanticization of grief,
depression,
heartbreak, the downer ones.
Yeah.
Like being slow and sad. And I always want to ask artists, so like you're saying and I believe that too, you create art about whatever is in front of you because that's all you can really do. But do you think by that token, and I'm asking more philosophically, I guess, than in your personal life, like, but does that mean if you didn't have bipolar type 1, if you were really vanilla since birth and it just came without effort, do you think your art would be really boring? Would you be writing boring shit about boring shit?
I have no idea. I kind of feel like maybe I would just be like my aunt, and that like I would just like, I've had a really like great example of like being vanilla successfully. Like she dedicated her entire life to taking care of her parents and like taking care of me when I didn't have parents. And so I feel like I would just be this like,
those are great things to do. Like you don't have
sacrificing person. Yeah. And I think that's kind of how I imagine it. But because I am like, ooh, I'm kooky. I'm like Willy Wonka. I'm like Mary Poppins when I take care of kids. I'm magic. Like, I feel like it's just, I'm still self-sacrificing, but not in the way that she is. I'm whimsical, and she's more like, I need to lay down really straightforward rules, and like, we're gonna stay safe, guys. And I'm like, I'm wrestling a crocodile right now.
You are. That's confirmed. Do you think you use the word sacrifice? That's what I always wonder, if we're projecting ourselves onto others just because. Do you get the impression that it was a sacrifice for her? For example, like, do you feel that she didn't express all this art that's within her? Do you know what I mean?
No, she's not. Does everyone have to be an art person?
Can't she be fulfilled by doing the things she did?
I think that she is fulfilled,
and she just isn't a kooky.
But at the same time, I feel like she probably would have been riding the rails on her favorite Amtrak train, going and visiting her friends and hanging out with her Weight Watchers group more. And, you know, she does like slightly less of the things that she wants because she's had to like, you know, reformulate her life.
Right.
She never wanted kids, and then she was like, but I want this one. Like, and I think that it's kind of coexisting of I am fulfilled, but I'm also sacrificing, because I think that I know what kind of life. Like, she would be on a cruise line right now in Mexico if it wasn't for me.
But it's kind of, yes, but it's more of the acceptable sacrifices of deciding you want to fill a parental role, not like she could have been a singer.
She could have been a contender.
Right? She could have been a movie star.
No, I think that she's happy where she's at, but she does love to complain about what she could have had.
If not for you damn kids.
Yeah. I think that's her
right.
thing,
That's
though.
a parent's right.
Yeah.
I haven't said this out loud publicly, but he'll never hear it, so it's okay to say. My dad is notably jealous that I have kind of the career he wanted, which is so weird because I only want it because he raised me and I am exactly like him. You know what I mean?
I've heard that.
He wanted to be a filmmaker and his life was hard, so instead he had to work at a 7-Eleven from the age 14 and like raise his kids. And now one of his kids, his love for films rubbed off on me so much that I'm like, I want to be a filmmaker. And he's like, well, it's easy to be a filmmaker when you don't have to raise any damn kids and you had good parents. And I'm like, you're right. And I'm grateful for that. But I don't know how to feel, you know?
I feel like I'm not surprised when you say that, just by like hanging out with your brother and like all of his stories about your dad. And I just feel like, yeah, I could see that. And
Interesting.
yeah,
I never know what David says. Full disclosure for the audience. Yeah, Biba's good friends with my brother David.
Yes, I am very good friends with your brother.
And yet he said Biba on the phone.
He, there's some friends of mine that just like to say it that way, and that's fine.
Okay. Well, there's the assonance, Biba Pickles. It rolls off the tongue nicely.
I
Biba
think
Pickles.
that's why a lot of people say it that way.
Yeah.
I'm not a stickler.
I guess by that logic, though, I should be Michael Swaim, which is no good.
Oh, that sounds weird, though. I think Swaim
or
is the way.
Makel Swaim?
Makel. Yeah, that's good.
Everyone's names should rhyme, is my point. But back to your art.
Yes.
Do you tend to create art when you're having either a manic,
yes,
anxious, or
immediately? Yes.
Oh, okay. I expected the opposite answer.
No,
because I've talked to a lot of artists who it paralyzes them. They have to wait for it to pass, and then they
there's a
retroactively make art about it.
There's a difference between having a panic attack and having a manic attack. I have a panic attack, and I'm gagging, and I'm I need to go and be alone, and I'm all pacing around silently and agitated. But when I'm manic, it's I can hear Leslie Gore singing to me sunshine and lollipops and rainbows, and they're like, what are you doing? And I was just like, I'm gonna peel the bark off a tree and make a bark collage. And it's
bad for the tree,
I go crazy. It's kind of I can look at anything and see what it can be for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look and see things that are there. I see what can be there, and I just go nuts with it.
Does it feel scary, the true mania?
Depending
you liken
on
it
how
to an
bad
acid
it gets.
trip, right? Acid trips are usually wonderful experiences for me, but of course there's the one where you overdid it.
Yes.
And 12 hours in, you're like, I just want to sleep now.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is pretty much exactly what it feels like.
Okay.
Except you're not hallucinating. That's when you're going into psychosis. That's if you're having a really bad manic attack, when you actually start hearing and seeing and having hardcore delusions. The ones that are romanticized by a lot of people that are bipolar, or when they just feel they have a lot of energy, they can do whatever they want. When they talk to people, it's they're seeing the best side of them. They always have the right thing to say. It's a lot like being on cocaine.
I was gonna say, my friends who've had coke problems sounds like that. Yeah.
It's kind of like being naturally on Adderall or coke, and you just, I don't know, you feel really good about yourself. You have so much grandiosity. You're I can do anything, and you're like, you know what? I want to wear a Halloween costume today, and I'm gonna go to the bank, and I'm gonna I can do whatever I want.
Just gonna rob this bank.
Yeah, and then something like that happens because you're so stuck on how great the idea is and how you're going to be so happy when you do this, and then you're making everybody unhappy.
This flying machine will work. I'm testing it. It's going to work.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. You'll start these elaborate projects and never finish them, or they won't work, or you're going to parties and determine that I'm gonna have the best time. Everybody's playing Dance Dance Revolution, well, I'm gonna master it, and everybody's gonna say, wow, she's so good, she could do everything. And then everybody's annoyed because you're hogging the mat, or for me, it was there were parties where people were being silly and dancing on tables with their pants on their head. Well, I was taking off all my clothes in my underwear, smearing all their cereals and yogurt on my body.
Okay.
And going, oh, snowball fight, and picking up, putting my hand in ice cream and molding it like a ball and throwing it around.
So you are picking up the vibe of the room, but you're I'm going to take it way further than all of you.
Yes.
Party? I'll show you a fucking party.
Yes, I have to have the best time, and everybody is angry I ruin it.
Okay, so you already mentioned some downsides. You say bipolar, that usually involves the depressive side as well. So I imagine those feel linked. All right, so I guess, could you speak on, is it a mixed bag, or do you just hate bipolarism? If you could press a switch, would you take it away? Or do you somewhat are grateful for, and I say that in quotes, or romanticize the part where you're when I'm manic, I do get a lot of shit done. Because I have anxiety attacks, and I know they're literally shortening my lifespan, so I try to do things to combat them. But I'm also is that the only reason I get so much work done? Because I'm an anxious person, you know?
I feel like I'm addicted to the feeling I get from my mania, because I don't think I could take it away now, because I mean, when you're manic, caffeine will make it worse.
Okay.
Like it amps it up. And I was the type of...
Is the depression also more extreme then if you like amp up the mania?
You crash way harder.
So
but
there's no way to like tailor your bipolarism to the way you like it.
But I was such a nutter butter. I would be like, I'm being so serious right now. I would shotgun 3 cans of Red Bull, shotgun the biggest ones that I can get to amp up, turn it up all the way, my mania.
Because you wanted a manic period to start.
I wanted to get everything that I had to do for the week done in one day. And I would just go the limit, and I would do everything. And people would say, I cannot believe that you picked that up all by yourself. I was like the Hulk.
You just lifting boulders? What were you doing? Yeah.
I would like do like all this crazy work. Like when I was like working at the radio station, it's like I reorganized the entire library. I did all this, and they're like, oh my god, this like the station's spotless, and I just wanted...
Your fingers are bleeding.
Yes.
You're like, I scrubbed everything.
It's true. My fingers would be bleeding on my cuticles. I would do everything. I was Superwoman, and I wanted to be the Swiss Army knife that people could like trust and believe in. But I probably greatly lowered my lifespan. Like I was like killing myself, which is why I had to go on meds. I was driving myself up the walls by like doing that, and then I would crash really hard and be really depressed, and I would just go to
not
some
efficient work wise,
really fucked up dark places, and I would feel like I'm made out of lead, and that if I could just lift my arm, I could stab myself in the leg with a ballpoint pen, and I just couldn't.
But you can't even lift your arm.
I couldn't. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't live like that anymore. And I went on medication, and this is how I know that I can't live on the extreme opposite side either of being totally quote unquote normal. Is they gave me a bunch of antipsychotics, and it mellowed me out a lot, and I felt like someone scooped my soul out. I felt totally dead inside, and like my brain was like foggy, and I was so depressed that the magic was gone. And I was saying to myself, I just have to take it one day at a time and live the rest of my life really horrible like this, and I'm just waiting to die. I was sitting around waiting to die naturally, and it was horrible. And so I found this happy medium of, okay, well, I'm on a moderate dose of lithium, and I still know how to get down and like, you know,
down meaning up.
Get down on the dance floor, sing every Rick James song word for word, and people go, wow, I didn't know she knew how to do the splits. But I'm not technically ruining everything, because I'm not trying to be the center of attention throughout the party.
Sure.
And I still know how to sit and be quiet and like not fidget around and claw my skin off. And I feel like that was a hard thing to do. To just be moderately fun and to have a down moment. To have a moment to have a nice sit. Fun,
but sitting still is impossible.
I
don't know how
now.
People do that. Good for you.
I mastered it. It was hard. I'm there. I love it. I love it.
That's amazing. My girlfriend always, I say, what do you want to do? And she says, just chill. And she means sit on the couch with no music or TV on and look into space. And I within a minute go like, but what are we doing?
I can't do that.
And she's like, I'm just snuggling with you, thinking my thoughts. And I'm like, but what's the activity? I can't handle this.
I can't do that. That's a little bit too much for me. For me, having a good sit is like, okay, like, I'm going to accompany somebody on their errands, and if they need my help, I'm here. But really, I'm just sitting in the car, riding in the car, looking at the people on the street, going like, I wonder where she got those purple pants. I like them. Or, whoa, is that guy really riding a unicycle? I don't think I could do that.
No, Jennifer can stop her brain from thinking thoughts for as long as she wants.
I can't do that.
At a time, and then turn it back on. And I admire that ability. Yeah.
I can't do that, but I'm always thinking, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can be just kind of gentle thoughts where I can use them for something.
Yeah. I'm working on that. But I do think it's really great that you highlight, because I'm in the midst of my own version of this journey, but people out there who are going through this or things like this, the finding the right balance between there is a mind over matter aspect, and there is an aspect of introspecting and getting in touch with yourself, finding out what your rhythms are. There's thought exercises and things that really are real and affect you. And then there's also Western style medication that I think can be very helpful. But a lot of people I know, well, there's both problems. You should go in being wary and knowing that everyone's so different, and we understand the brain so little, that if you start taking a medication and it doesn't jibe with you, like bring it up right away, change medication.
Yes.
Yeah, because you don't deserve to feel scooped out and hollow inside. And that's common with people I know who are first trying antipsychotics. So A, know what you deserve and keep fighting. B, I think you can also overdo, like, I think there's a lot of people who are scared to take medications for that reason. And I'd say, if you know you need it, take it. But know that you could have side effects, and you got to be on top of them, and that you deserve to keep changing if you need to keep changing. Yeah.
I feel like what you just said was like boom, my brain is explode. Oh my God, I didn't know that. Like, that was me 2 years ago. Like, I was so afraid to take medication. And I was like, no, you can't tame this beast. I'm a wild unicorn with a big glittery dick. Woo!
Yep. My personality is the sun.
That was me. And I mean, I feel like it's a little bit me. It's like, oh yeah, like I'm a unicorn. I'm like a shiny
You're
star.
a little bit of a mythical creature. I'll give you. You have that vibe for sure.
So, but I'm not so like, look at me all the time. It's more like, hello, I am here. I know you can see me. And
I'm a unicorn.
I'm okay with that.
I'll be over here grazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to like grab you by the cheeks and like shove your forehead onto my forehead and say, hi, my name's Pickles. I could just give you a wave now, and
What's
it's
your first name? You'll mispronounce it. Don't worry about that.
I just feel like I was like, I'm still pretty intense now, so you can only imagine how scary that was.
All my friends are natural performers and are on all the time. So like, I can feel the vibe that you're someone who's talkative and high energy, but
all the time.
No, I'm pretty inundated with that. So you would have to tell me that you have manic episodes for me to know that, but I appreciate it.
Well, now it's not that obvious, but there was a time, like when I was not medicated, that I think it was obvious, because people would be like, you have like crazy wild eyes, and and I would stomp through like a coffee table at a party.
A guy's head.
It was so like crazy. I'd be like, I'm Godzilla, you guys, and I'd like punch a picture frame and have a bloody hand.
Totally. The person who parties so hard that you're like, well, now the party's ruined. Like,
Yes.
I had a friend who is very diminutive, would drink like, and I'm an alcoholic saying this, like a tremendous amount, where I'm like, what, impressed.
I know. I mean, I'm an alcoholic, and I know
fit
people
in all that little tummy. And whenever he got drunk to a certain point, he would immediately yell the word eskrima. Do you know what eskrima is?
No.
Form of martial arts that is based on using any object in the room as a weapon as quickly as possible. He'd just yell eskrima and then start hurting everyone around him. We'd have to be like, you're really hurting people. You have to stop, please.
Honestly, that really could have been me.
Sure.
I'm
Godzilla. Please stop stepping on my foot.
I could I'm like, okay, I'm going to drink 2 Four Locos.
I'm going to drink this many. Oh, shit.
I'm going to drink 2 Four Locos.
Those got banned, and I wasn't into drinking at the time, but my girlfriend has told me she's like, Four Loko was my life. And
oh my God.
It makes you go crazy.
I never want to see another one ever. Okay, Four Loko.
This is like alcoholic Red Bull if people don't know Four Loko. Yeah.
Four Loko for me
was like a giant can.
Yeah, a tall can. Four Loko for me was like oh, this is my fiance. We're getting married, and we're like Sid and Nancy, and I love him so much. And then now I'm like, I can't believe I almost married him. I could have had
He was abusive and I didn't see it.
I don't know why I did this. And then if you like bump into Four Loko at the grocery store, you put the cart, like abandon it and run out.
Yeah.
Don't even put the stuff back. Fuck
well,
this.
At least he was honest up front. Like, why do you drink this? For Loco? To be crazy. Like, it was.
Yeah.
They didn't hide it.
I used to make, when they stopped making it with caffeine, I would make bootleg Four Loko, and I called it Quattro Crazy. And
just coffee and vodka?
No, I put Four Loko and Red Bull together and crushed up caffeine pills. And I put them all together in a washed out gallon of like milk, that carton.
Yeah.
I wash it out and then put that stuff inside, shake it up, drink the whole thing, and like have a bad time.
Tide Pod on the rim.
It was so bad. I mean, like I just like have these flashes of like, oh, I remember that. I can't believe I drank a 40, a bottle of gin and 2 Four Locos, and then like
that beats my record.
Set something on fire, and oh god,
that I've done
so much. Like total 3 cars in one night. Great.
My hat is off to you. You win on that.
3 cars in one go.
This is the new Tales from the Pit game. We have to have you back for a whole episode.
I've done some stuff.
Because we're evenly, it's all love. People out there who are struggling right now, let's find a way to help them feel okay and survive one more day. But also hilarious anecdotes about shit you did when you were drunk or high.
Oh, I got.
Because those are great too. Yeah.
I remember being at one party and saying, check this out. And I was like putting out like candles and lighters and cigarettes on my tongue.
I was going to say, with what? Okay.
I was like, look, I'm invincible. And at another party, I was like, I'm Jesus. And I convinced this guy that I was Jesus because I put every cigarette out on my hand. I went, look, I'm not burned. And the next day, my hand looked like I fisted a wasp's nest. And it was like, what did I do?
Was there just a delay for the burns to appear?
I don't remember that night. Actually, I was told what happened that night. I like fell down and I was told that I got a concussion and they had to have like a fight about who's taking me to the ER. And then when they took me to the hospital, I wouldn't go inside. So they made a nurse come out to the car to examine me, and I kicked her in the stomach and said, get off me, you fucking bitch. And then
no.
I like woke up and realized like I didn't have my purse or my shoes.
Okay.
And
you'd kicked an innocent woman
I didn't know. I didn't know. I was
You've had to be told that afterwards.
I don't remember any of this.
See, that's the kind of behavior you don't want on your record. That's why you stopped drinking.
I have a lot of that behavior on my record. I was arrested and I was blackout drunk fighting. I was in handcuffs, so I still tried to fight them with my legs. And I was like, fuck you, bitch tits. And it was outside of a concert, and everybody from the concert came out and watched it happen at an audience.
And it was a Wiggles concert.
No, it was, no, it's really bad. I was seeing Strung Out, which is like this 90s punk band.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have been cooler.
No, it's more normal to fight in front of a Strung Out concert than a Wiggles concert.
It was, and the reason the cops arrested me is that I finished off a jug of Seacrums, threw it at a brick wall, and jumped in the glass and rolled around in it laughing. And they like came up to me to be like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, none of your fucking business.
And these things are bad, right? We're at the risk, I think, of condoning these things. These things suck. Yeah. In retrospect.
Who wants to
My laughter aside. Well,
who wants to wake up in jail and you're taking glass out of your skin?
Because you're telling me these stories and they make me smile and giggle, but I want the people to know I see that these are bad things that happen. And I feel sorry.
They're hilarious. I don't want to die.
Things.
Let's never do it again. It's kind of like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if this happened? And I was like, I guess I'm the person to do it, so nobody ever has to do it because I'm like the Jesus of America's Funniest Home Videos. Like, I died for your lols.
That's the new Green Day album, right? Jesus of America's Funniest Home Videos.
Oh my God, it might as well be.
Bob Saget, walks the road with me. All right. More stories to come if you're ever in the area again. I'd love to do a part 2.
I'm always around.
Because I wanted to talk about art, and we did a lot. But I also haven't had anyone with the particular like bipolar journey, so I'm glad we talked about what mania feels like and stuff like that.
I feel like I'm the expert of what it feels like.
So come back and we'll do a part 2 that's half and half again, and then if people piece them together, that's 2 full episodes.
Okay.
About art and mania.
Oh, you know what's funny is it's like, oh, this is a half and half, and bipolar disorder is a half and half. It's like,
and we're drinking half and half.
There you go.
It was unintentional.
It's like
I make all my guests drink half and half.
The cream, right?
Yeah.
I feel like my journey has been like, I'm really depressed. I'm made out of lead. I'm really manic. I'm made out of like the plasma that's in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm going to, leave it all behind. And I feel like, my life is just like Judy Garland's life. I'm so talented and no one understands. And then I go, oh, wait, I'm being a piece of shit right now. I'm burning my hand with cigarettes in front of this like stupid party. And like I've injured myself. And I feel like that, the ending, the happy ending is that when I look back at all the things that I've done and, my shortcomings, at the end of the day, like and if I take it one day at a time, in January, I'll be clean and sober for 3 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
And I've been on medication since March of 2016. And even though like I had to experiment and find the right medication, and there's a lot of medication out there that really made me feel like shit, worst side effects ever. But I found something with side effects that I think that I can manage. I don't like the weight gain and being thirsty a lot and peeing all the time. But, hell of a lot better than feeling like I'm being electrocuted all the time.
Oh, was that Cymbalta?
No. I've heard of that.
The Cymbalta brain shock thing I got.
I got the brain shocks from Saffris. Abilify made me feel like I had a bunch of acid going through my veins. Like
Butra made me have lucid, horrible nightmares every night that felt like they were hours long.
I had that on Saffris.
I felt the pain and shit when I got stabbed in the dreams. Yeah.
I felt like I was drowning. Like I would like pass out from fear, and that's how I slept. And I would wake up and be like, oh no, I woke up.
Yeah.
I thought I would die, but I don't have that anymore. I'm on lithium and I'm happy.
Good.
And I have found a place where like I'm happy and other people aren't scared.
I just switched to Zoloft, which is giving me brief manic episodes, which I've never had before.
I've heard that.
So it's quite a cavalcade of, it's quite a carousel of effects you can get. But yeah.
And I think that like, that's a really important part about medication is what you just said, which is it's a trial and error and everybody's different.
Yes.
And I stuck it out and I'm really happy that I did.
And I just worry so much for people who are depressed and take the pill, and because you can also get the side effect where it literally does the opposite of its intent and makes like suicidal ideation way worse.
Latuda did that to me.
Those are the people who are in such risk. You're like, oh no, you just got to switch now. Switch to something else now.
Latuda did that to me, and I was on it for months, and I thought that the only way was to kill myself.
Right.
And I luckily got out, and I'm really glad that I did, because I'm pretty sure that people at my hospital are like annoyed that they keep seeing me like, this chick just tried some shit again. Yeah. Was it an accident or was it on purpose?
Oh,
who knows? And it's like, I know, I always go, I want to die or I want to have fun, and nobody knows. But it's over now. I used to see the ER once a month. I used to go. I had great insurance because of my grandpa being at the post office forever, which is a government job, and if I didn't have that, I would be horribly in debt. I was really up shit creek without a paddle. And now I'm in a lovely river kayaking, and there's
caramel
cute little
stream of
there's cute otters with their
and
babies,
seals and manatees.
It's great. And then I also...
So listen, if you're out there and you're having this issue, just hear us. Live one more day, you asshole.
Also, this is common. I have felt this. I think a lot of people feel this way. They're afraid that they're not going to be the same person, that their art or whatever they do is going to be affected, and they have to sacrifice this thing to like not go off the deep end.
Right.
And I felt that way, and it was so bad I was prepared to do that. And in a way, like all of 2016, I felt like I was an empty shell. But I feel like I feel good. I feel like I'm just me. I've always been just me, and I'm still doing what I want to do in music and comedy. And I feel like I can do those things successfully. I don't feel like I'm making bad content, and I'm not different in the way that I thought I'd be different. I'm different in a way that I hope for.
May make you feel different for a while, but just know that you don't have to settle for that. That's not the end.
Oh yeah. I think that it's really important for me to tell everybody that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like there's a silver lining in every cloud, and even though it's hard right now, you can't even imagine what's like coming. Like there is a payoff out there, and it's hard to get, but I'm really happy that every piece of art that I make is something quality and something genuine. Like I really want to affect people positively and touch people, and I think I've done that in music and comedy. And I don't know how I was able to do it impaired. I was able to do it, but now I really feel like I feel 100%. Like I feel like I'm really having some kind of connection with people, that I'm resonating with them. And like, I feel like I'm kind of more aware.
A renaissance is coming.
I feel like instead of just doing something and people like, because it's like, oh wow, she's like different.
Yeah.
Now it's like, this is all of me. I'm 100%.
And you can structure it more consciously and have broader perspective on it.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find your latest work? Because we're out of time.
Well,
but I'd love for people to get introduced.
Gosh, I feel like it's hard to get a hold of me. I would say like
you're an in-person artist.
I'm kind of like off.
Is there
from social media? Like I'm not
the radio show's not archived. Nothing like that.
They have like a Spinatron account for me where you could see my playlists. I haven't been on the radio in a long time, but I think right now the main project that I've been working on, focusing all of my like artistic energy with, is my music project with my friend Daniel, and we're called Flavor Crystals. And I think that if you just like Google my name, you will find stuff. It's like an Easter egg hunt.
Awesome. Yeah.
And
that's Biba.
Yes.
Pickles.
And then pickles, just like the food. Our next show is going to be in Atascadero, California.
Ooh.
At Stage Pink. And we're performing with Depressed Spectre and Sun One. And Flavor Crystals is fronted by me, and I will be wearing a girdle and a bra with
already got that planned out.
Grasshoppers hot glued to the bra, like dead grasshoppers. And I will eat some of them along with some dirt, and I'm gonna
some glue residue probably.
Yeah,
if you're pulling them off the bra.
I'm gonna throw up on myself and do a lot of
that's
screaming.
Part of it. That's pre-planned.
Yeah.
Can you throw up whenever you choose to?
Yes. I'm pretty good at throwing up.
That's a whole different show.
I don't know why. I've had so many stomach problems. Is that
me too?
But
I have to use a finger. I can't like just will it to happen.
I have to use a finger to throw up.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like there's been so many.
I'd envy you if you're like, yeah, you want me to throw up? Here we go. Boom.
No, I know someone that does that though.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny.
It used to be a popular vaudeville act, Gurgitators. They would drink a whole fish bowl of water with a fish in it, and then
I've
throw
seen
it
that.
all up, and the fish would still be alive. Stuff like that.
So you basically explain Flavor Crystals.
That's what Flavor Crystals is.
It's electronic music. It's modulars and synths and theremins, and I make noises, and they're all kind of making a sound collage. And then I do like crazy disturbing things like drink a gallon of milk and get myself lactose sickness and throw it up all over everyone.
So you really got to be there in person. It doesn't translate well to the 3 to 5 minute web video format.
There are videos of us and there are recordings of our music, but I think that the best experience is sitting there and being like very horrified by what's going on.
So if you want to be horrified, look up Biba Pickles and Flavor Crystals.
Yes.
Or stay tuned to this feed where we'll have Biba back next time she's in town, I hope.
Yeah, I'm always around.
Got you.
I always
put you on the
have
spot.
to leave slow for a while so I can remember what it's like not being in a small town.
I just watched the movie last night, To Live and Die in LA, where everyone refers to it as the Bispo. And I'm like, no one ever fucking called it that, ever. I don't believe this. Some screenwriter came up. Yeah, it's slow.
It's slow.
It's not the Bispo. Don't call SLO the Bispo.
And I like to think that I'm an expert on slow because my family's lived there since 1935.
Oh.
And so we're like old school legacy. Nobody ever said the Bispo.
It feels like San Diego transplanted to middle.
It reminds me of Twin Peaks. It's like, what a nice little town. It's got a secret.
Damn fine cherry pie. Yep.
This has been a Small Beans endeavor. We're a bunch of pals who make podcasts, sketches, music, web series, and movies. The beans always have new ideas percolating, so make sure to check us out at patreon.com/smallbeans. That's patreon.com/smallbeans, where you can browse all of our current and past content, see what we've got planned in the future, and learn how your support can help the small beans grow into huge, giant monster beans. If you enjoyed this content module, please like, rate, subscribe, or tell a friend about us. We love you!